Come on everybody, all up in the place. It is time for Thanksgiving in outer space. Some asteroid potatoes and some Jupiter pie. So just climb into your rocket and fly into the sky. Come on everybody, all up in the place. It is time for Thanksgiving in outer space. Some asteroid potatoes and some Jupiter pie. So just climb into your rocket and fly into the sky. Come on everybody, all up in the place. It is time for Thanksgiving in outer space. Some asteroid potatoes and some Jupiter pie. So just climb into your rocket and fly into the sky. Come on everybody, all up in the place. It is time for Thanksgiving in outer space. Some asteroid potatoes and some Jupiter pie. So just climb into your rocket and fly into the sky. Come on everybody, all up in the place. It is time for Thanksgiving in outer space. Some asteroid potatoes and some Jupiter pie. So just climb into your rocket and fly into the sky. Come on everybody, all up in the place. It is time for Thanksgiving in outer space. Some asteroid potatoes and some Jupiter pie. So just climb into your rocket and fly into the sky. Thanksgiving. Come on everybody, all up in the place. It is time for Thanksgiving in outer space. Some asteroid potatoes and some Jupiter pie. So just climb into your rocket and fly into the space. Come on everybody, all up in the place. It is time for Thanksgiving in outer space. Some asteroid potatoes and some Jupiter pie. So just climb into your rocket and fly into the Come on everybody, all up in the place. It is time for Thanksgiving in outer space. Some asteroid potatoes and some Jupiter pie. So just climb into your rocket and fly into the Come on everybody, all up in the place. It is time for Thanksgiving in outer space. Some asteroid potatoes and some Jupiter pie. So just climb into your rocket and fly into the Come on everybody, all up in the place. It is time for Thanksgiving in outer space. Some asteroid potatoes and some Jupiter pie. So just climb into your rocket and fly into the Come on everybody, all up in the place. It is time for Thanksgiving in outer space. Some asteroid potatoes and some Jupiter pie. So just climb into your rocket and fly into the Come on everybody, all up in the place. It is time for Thanksgiving in outer space. Some asteroid potatoes and some Come on everybody, all up in the place. It is time for Thanksgiving in outer space. Some asteroid potatoes and some Jupiter pie. So just climb into your rocket and fly into the space. Come on everybody, all up in the place. It is time for Thanksgiving in outer space. Some asteroid potatoes and some Jupiter pie. So just climb into your rocket and fly into the space. Come on everybody, all up in the place. It is time for Thanksgiving in outer space. Some asteroid potatoes and some Jupiter pie. So just climb into your rocket and fly into the space. Come on everybody, all up in the place. It is time for Thanksgiving in outer space. Some asteroid potatoes and some Jupiter pie. So just climb into your rocket and fly into the space. Come on everybody, all up in the place. It is time for Thanksgiving in outer space. Some asteroid potatoes and some Jupiter pie. So just climb into your rocket and fly into the space. Come on everybody, all up in the place. It is time for Thanksgiving in outer space. Some asteroid potatoes and some Jupiter pie. So just climb into your rocket and fly into the space. Come on everybody, all up in the place. It is time for Thanksgiving in outer space. Some asteroid potatoes and some Jupiter Come on everybody, all up in the place. It is time for Thanksgiving in outer space. Some asteroid potatoes and some Jupiter pie. So just climb into your rocket and fly into space. Come on everybody, all up in the place. It is time for Thanksgiving in outer space. Some asteroid potatoes and some Jupiter pie. So just climb into your rocket and fly into Come on everybody, all up in the place. It is time for Thanksgiving in outer space. Some asteroid potatoes and some Jupiter pie. So just climb into your rocket and fly into Come on everybody, all up in the place. It is time for Thanksgiving in outer space. Some asteroid potatoes and some Jupiter pie. So just climb into your rocket and fly into
Is it sounding all right? Coming through?
Well, we're coming through now, I think.
Okay, very good.
Hey, everybody.
It's Thanksgiving special.
Yeah, man.
I never do any theme types of shows on Who Are These Podcasts. I always think they're fucking stupid, but this is fun today.
I think this kind of fits our format.
Yeah, it does.
It's just a little silly.
It's a little silly.
It's a little silly. But you know what, though? I think the people will appreciate it. I hope they all enjoyed Space Thanksgiving.
Yeah, that was fun.
Would you, you want to know an interesting fact about that?
I doubt it's interesting, but go ahead.
Well, that dance that everyone just saw was done in only one take.
Wow, you don't say.
Yeah.
Must have been a lot of rehearsal, though, I imagine.
Let me tell you something. The amount of care that went into that video was about the level of care you come up with here every week.
Yeah, I know.
With your creep and your easy-ass Google searches.
I learned it from watching you, Vinny.
I learned it from watching you. It's time for the creep off.
It's the creep off.
Disgusting, vomit-inducing thing.
Hola, creepos! Welcome to another edition of the internet's worst, most unnecessary contest, a show about creeps, by creeps, for you creeps. It's the Creep Off. My name is Vinnie Paulino, and this is my host, Hot Carla.
What is happening, Vinnie Paulino?
I'm just happy to see you. I feel like it's a holiday week. We're going to celebrate a little bit.
The
I'm
holiday's
excited.
been canceled, so we're gonna bring it to you. We're gonna bring Thanksgiving to you, the fine people.
That's right. I want you to turn this off. I don't want you to listen to it now. I want you to wait till Thursday. I want you to download it, but wait till Thursday and wait till
Vote
you know
for me.
you and whoever your roommate is are sitting around a table eating whatever you all call Thanksgiving.
Right.
Your poor people Thanksgiving, and just listen to this show. It'll really brighten your spirits.
I doubt it. This show, as was pointed out by Sean, the audio engineer there in the beginning, is not something that you should be listening to while eating food.
Disgusting, vomit-inducing thing. Disgusting, vomit-inducing thing.
It was a little harsh.
I went on the Dick Show and he asked me who my favorite creep was, and I talked about Nick Bate. And
That's a solid answer.
He did not want to hear about that story.
Yeah, I watched the video. Somebody had sent me a clip of it.
Yeah.
And his face was like, why did I ask?
I know.
And I don't blame him because this is an acquired taste.
And I couldn't see him because I'm just on the Discord. So I just assumed that everyone's like enjoying everything I'm talking about. They are not, it turns out. They don't want to hear about it.
So I'm going to play around with some of my levels here, apparently.
Okay.
Sorry, pal. So, Carl, I think that we should start our very, very, very special celebration today.
Okay. We always start out by looking at the voting from last week. You were in the lead 4-2 as of last week, which means that was a game point contest. And am I spinning a wheel today or am I keeping it going?
Carl, I know it's a nail biter.
What's the results, Murray?
But
53% of the vote going to Carl. Roy Nelsh was definitely a creep.
you know, Carl, the words of the great Dusty Rhodes come to my mind right now. Every dog has its day, baby. Congratulations.
All right. So,
But
the
I'm coming back today.
The score is now 4-3, so we're still game point. Vinny wins this contest, and I'm spinning next week.
You are.
But that will not happen.
And we're going to talk about the wheel in a little bit because some people have been sending in suggestions, and some of them are pretty good.
Oh, cool. Okay, yeah. I always like updating the wheel of consequences.
Well, we're going to have to because the Nick Bate consequence, you know.
Yep, has to come off.
Yeah. So, very good, very good. Now, let's start talking about this week's creep.
Happy Turkey Day. Hunger pains will go away.
We are celebrating Thanksgiving with the
Happy
creepiest
Turkey Day.
Thanksgiving-themed creep,
Happy
I guess.
Turkey Day.
I don't fucking know.
I think you might be on the verge of overproducing this show, Vinny.
I just really like this jingle palette thing. I'm just having a little
when
fun.
you had other work to do besides this podcast. And
Who
you
does?
half-ass it a little bit.
Who
Now-
does?
Now you're just like, you have so much time on your hands. You're putting way too much effort into the show.
All right, I'll stop. I apologize, everyone, for the effort.
As you should. Shame.
Yeah.
Shame on you.
So, Thanksgiving creep. So, there's some rules, like the crime either had to be committed on Thanksgiving or the arrest had to happen on Thanksgiving. That's what Carl and I set the rules on. And we both agreed on that, right, Carl?
Yes. That's
Okay.
correct.
So, that means because you won last week, you get to go first.
That's right. Let's start the creep off.
Let's do it.
I'm going to start, since it is about Thanksgiving and the creepiest creep on Thanksgiving, I have a list of people that I think should be acknowledged here. Andrew Cuomo, Lori Lightfoot, Gavin Newsom, Gretchen Whitmer. These are all people trying to cancel Thanksgiving, probably successfully.
Bitch.
If those are the biggest creeps, if you think those are creeps, then vote for me this week. But actually, who I want to talk about is a first-round draft pick for the Carolina Panthers. One wide receiver, Ray Caruth.
Now, this is a good story, and I'm kind of mad you're doing it.
27th pick overall by the Carolina Panthers. Had a decent rookie year, was injured in his sophomore year, and then his third year started out very promising. He looked like he was going to be a star in the league. But some problems happened. Let's back up. Let's talk about Ray Caruth in college. As a sophomore at the University of Colorado, his girlfriend, Michelle Wright, had given birth to his son, and he was grudgingly paying child support, although he only paid half.
You know, guys paid child support who are happy about it, Carl.
That's a good point. But he argued, and he only paid half of what he was supposed to pay because he said that he would be involved as the father of the boy. He was not. He was not involved at all. Paid her half of what he was supposed to pay.
So listen, I'm going to pay you half and I'll actually talk to the kid, or you can have the whole thing and just
Right.
raise it yourself.
Yeah.
What an option.
So he's still in college now. Now he's a senior, and his girlfriend, Amber Turner, who had moved with him from Colorado to North Carolina, had become pregnant in 1998. According to Turner, Carruth ordered her to get an abortion, saying that he was not going to have kids with someone he wasn't going to be with, and threatened her, saying that he could send someone to kill her. He also mentioned to Turner that he could arrange to have someone kill Wright so that it wouldn't
Man,
have to
those
pay
booster
her
clubs in
child support.
colleges. Those football booster clubs. They really do back the players 100%. You could just call one of those guys.
So,
And a couple of alums are going to grab their shotguns.
yeah, there's a lot of hangers on, too. A lot of people want to be involved with professional athletes. Turner decided to terminate the pregnancy. She had an abortion after getting these threats from Ray Carruth. Fast forward to Ray's next girlfriend, the next one in line. And this is a woman whose name is Sharika. And Sharika lets Ray Carruth know that she is pregnant. Man, Ray Carruth does not wear a condom.
No, he does not.
That's one thing we know for sure.
He's first-round talent, buddy. He doesn't have to.
He's knocking up a lot of chicks.
He's
This guy.
graded first round, Bal.
So Sharika is excited to start a family. She's excited that she's pregnant. She's really into Ray Carruth. And so now she's going to give birth. And so she tells him the news and was a little disappointed with the way that he responded.
She was really, really disappointed in Ray's reaction to her pregnancy.
Yeah. His reaction was, "I will kill you, bitch. You better get an abortion." Yeah, that would be a disappointment, I would imagine, to have that response.
Wow.
So Ray's decision is, I do not want to pay child support, which is going to be around $5,000 a month. He signed a $3 million contract. And he doesn't want to pay $5,000.
Well, once the agents get involved and the
Well,
managers,
yes, that's a good point.
and don't forget Uncle Sam, Carl.
Yeah, all right, all good points, which is why he decided rather than pay monthly, he would just make one payment.
And he told me to come over his house. And he asked me, do I know where he can get a gun at? I was like, why you wanted a gun? And he was like, he was wanting to get Sharika because she was pregnant, and he didn't want to pay no another $5,000 or some odd dollars a month in child support.
So his reaction is, I don't want to pay child support, but I will purchase a gun and kill you. So he's telling his buddy, where can I get a gun? So his buddy says, well, that's not really what I do, but I know a guy who you can talk to. This is the murder for hire, the hitman, talking about his conversation with Ray Carruth.
He called me, and I met him. So he said, how much would it take to beat up a girl and make her abort her baby? I said, I don't know, beat up no girl, I killed her.
So I don't know if you could hear that, but Ray asked how much to beat up a girl so that she has an abortion, to abort the baby. And his response is, I don't beat up girls, I murder them. That's what his job is.
Yeah. Well, you want to hire a professional.
You want to get a professional. So let's find out what the murder plot was.
What I want, he said, I want my man to ride with you. He was talking about William. He said, ride with you. He said, when we leave the movies, he said, I'm going to call you, and I want y'all to follow me down this road right here. That he was going to stop, and he wanted the guy that was riding with us to shoot the girl that he had pregnant.
All right, so basically what's happening here is Sharika is following. She's driving her car, and she's following Ray, who's driving his car with his buddies in it.
He's like, come on, baby, we're going to go to the Babies R Us and set you up. You
Yeah,
just
right.
follow me.
She's
Wow.
8 months pregnant. She's following behind Ray Carruth, and Ray's car stops, so she has to stop. A car drives up next to her and shoots right through the window at Sharika. Sharika
What are the odds?
Sharika is hit multiple times, but is able to make a 911 call that ultimately put Ray away. This is said call, the beginning of it.
Wow.
911 Baker, you need police, fire, paramedic.
Police, I've been shot. I'm 8 months pregnant.
Okay, ma'am, you're 8 months pregnant. You've been shot. You're at Wessex Square.
Community.
Very impressive that she was able to get on her phone. This is 1999 we're talking about. Get on her phone, explain that
She
she's
must
been
have had
shot.
singular.
Yeah, I know, right? There were a lot of places, people don't remember this. In 1999, depending on where you were in the world, you could possibly not be able to make a phone call.
Correct.
All the time.
Yeah.
You constantly just be like, oh, I can't call anyone right now.
I still don't trust Sprint.
Well, yeah, I don't trust Sprint. All right, so this is the next part of this conversation where she explains what happened.
Where's your husband at?
I don't have one.
Or your boyfriend, the one you said that was with you? Where's he
He's
at?
in the car in front of me, and he slowed down, and somebody pulled up beside me and did this.
And then where'd he go?
He just left.
Okay. All right, what's his name?
Ray Carusi went to the Panthers.
Oh!
What's his name?
Ray Carusi.
Ray
Number
Carusi.
89.
She's such a fangirl. Number 89, you know, he caught the touchdown last week. Did you see it?
Boy, did she finger him that tattletale.
Well, isn't
Wow.
that funny? I don't think Ray was counting on her to be alive long enough to make a phone call.
No, he was
Because, like, where'd your boyfriend go? Oh, after I got shot, he drove away. Oh, that's not really a good sign right there, I would imagine.
Hey, Casey just chimed in. She said she can't make phone calls in part of her house.
Well, she lives with the sticks, so that makes sense. Why is Casey interrupting my...
I did it. I wanted to ruin your flow.
I know, you ruined my flow.
Yeah.
So...
Dude, this is too good.
Sharika's mom, this woman, Sandra Adams, she decides, because she's at the hospital, and, you know, they're being operated on, they're trying to save the baby, they're trying to save Sharika. She decides, I better call Ray. He probably doesn't even know this is all going on.
They met me and told me that Sharika was already in surgery to have the baby by cesarean section. I immediately decided, oh my God, I gotta call Ray because I bet he doesn't know what's happened.
You're a stupid dumbass.
No, Ray's pretty aware. Now, as you could imagine, Vinny,
Ray.
Being the baby in someone who is shot multiple times is not good.
You know, they came out and told me that they had to revive Chancellor and that he had severe damage to his brain because of the lack of oxygen and blood. And so, you know, you're hearing all this from the doctors and still no Ray.
So they actually saved Chancellor, the son, which is miraculous.
It's amazing.
It's amazing. Ray finally shows up to the hospital where his girlfriend is trying to hang on to her life.
Because he was worried the baby was going to testify. Like, what was this idiot doing?
So he finally shows up and makes a little bit of a scene.
Finally, he comes in with an entourage. Ray comes in with the guy that did go to the movies with him. It was his friend Hannibal. And he actually came with another woman. I went over like a mad woman. I let him know that I know you knew what happened to him. You know what happened to
This guy's a real scumbag. He just put out a hit on his girlfriend, pregnant girlfriend, and then shows up to the hospital with his new girlfriend. This fucking player, man. He's something else. So
And you know the mom's yelling at him. He's like, not in front of my girl. Not in front of my girl.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
So the reason why I brought Ray Carruth this week is because he was then arrested on Thanksgiving Day. Because he was a suspect in this, obviously, they had the 911 call. She actually was alert enough for a time at the hospital that she was able to tell investigators what had happened.
Wow.
So, obviously, he was a suspect in all of this because of the role that he played. And it was pretty sloppy.
The cop's like, are you number 89 for the Carolina Panthers?
So, yeah, right. So, it was pretty sloppy, the job that our buddy Ray Carruth did. Now, December 14th rolls around. You have Sharika, who's been on life support. They decided to pull the plug. So now she's officially passed away from these injuries, making it a murder case. Up until that time, this was not a murder case. Now it is. And Ray's not excited about that at all.
He got a message on his answering machine from his attorney who said that Sharika Adams had passed away. About 10 o'clock that night, he decided, I'm going to contact an old friend, Wendy Cole, and he said he begged her to take him to California.
So he knows this chick who's going out to California. You know, they're in North
He's
Carolina.
like, I need you to trade me to the 49ers.
Yeah, right. Yeah, begging for a trade. Is there a Canadian football team I can go play for? Damn it. So he decides,
Manitoba Mountain Man.
He decides he's going to get in a car with her and drive out to California. They get to Tennessee. They don't get too far. They get to Tennessee. The FBI is onto them. the FBI agent tracks down this woman at a hotel that they're in and says, "Where's Ray? Do you know where he is?" And she kind of gestures towards the car keys, and they go, "Oh, okay. So this is the FBI agent talking about finding Ray Caruth in the trunk of her car."
I said, "Ray?" He said, "Yeah." "This is Mark Post. I'm with the FBI, and I have agents surrounded the car. We're gonna
Ray's
pop
not
the
here,
trunk.
man.
Come back
As soon as
later.
we pop the trunk just enough for your hands to come out, that's the first thing I want to see is those hands come out." And his hands came right out.
You know what else he had in the trunk? 2 full bottles of his urine. He was hiding in there for quite a while. I don't know what the end game was there. They'll never find me in this trunk.
Different people train different ways, Carl.
That's
Doesn't mean he's
true.
guilty.
That's true. He had $3,900 cash and his own urine. So he comes out, he goes to trial, and he was found guilty on many charges.
They found him guilty of conspiracy to commit murder, aiding and abetting, if you will, acting in concert. They found him guilty of firing into an occupied vehicle, felony murder. And in addition, they found him guilty of trying to kill the unborn child. And they found him not guilty of first-degree murder, which they did not follow the law.
So he could have gotten a death penalty, but they did not find him guilty of first-degree murder because one juror would not go along with it. One guy was like, "Nope, not doing it." So the result, Ray Caruth is a free man today. Did you know that?
I
Did you
know he
that
just got out of jail like a year ago, didn't
Yeah,
he?
just a couple of years ago, he got out of jail.
How's Chancellor?
Let's see how let's check it on
Who
Chancellor.
has more CTE, Ray or Chancellor?
So Chancellor is 21 years old now. This was 1999 and this all happened. And this is how Chancellor is doing it with his life.
Oh, no.
Now, what do you call your grandmother?
Kilpa.
And what do you call
Oh, Carl.
mother?
There you go.
Mommy Angel.
Yeah.
Say it again.
There you go.
He has cerebral palsy. He kind of reminds me of, what was the kid in Breaking Bad, the son?
Walter Jr.?
Yeah, Walt Jr.
Oh, what was his name? Flynn? When he changed his name
Yeah,
to
that's
Flynn?
right, yes.
When he hit puberty?
He kind of reminds me of that if that guy had it like 30 times worse. This guy has a really hard time walking around doing anything. And what's amazing...
He seems capable.
What's amazing is that the Sharika's mom, this Sandra Adams, has been raising him ever since this incident occurred. Now, Ray Caruth thought once he got out of prison that he would be a part of this boy's life.
Oh, did he?
Gio Ray also says he wants to be part of their son's life when he's released.
Yeah, that's right, Robin. He does. Caruth will be released in just months, and he wants custody of his son, the son who was almost killed in the shooting that Caruth planned, the shooting that killed the boy's mother.
What an asshole! Hey, can I just be that kid's father now? No.
This guy was a real jerk.
He's a real
The answer
jerk.
is no. And
Wow.
Sandra explains that she's actually still afraid of Ray Caruth.
Ray would never come back here and do anything, but that doesn't mean he wouldn't send someone. So I am a little anxious, and I'm not going to live in fear, but I'm taking a lot of precautions because he usually gets somebody else to do his dirty work, and we're going to protect Lee.
Isn't that fucking crazy? She's still concerned this guy's going to hire someone to go after them?
I mean, with what money?
He's not paying child support.
I mean, he probably didn't. He probably had some good commissary.
The reason why he wanted to murder people is because it was $5,000 a month, Vinny. Let's remember that. That was the motivation behind this. He's not just some psycho who goes out killing people randomly.
And he got those guys to come like kill her for what? A couple autographed jerseys and some tickets.
You know what? That's the one thing they never talk about what the payment was going to be for that.
I mean, he didn't want to spend $5,000 a month. He had to lowball these guys. They didn't
Yes.
sound like they could afford a microphone, so I doubt they took very much money.
The guy who pulled the trigger is a scary motherfucker, man. Him in trial was telling the attorney that he could kill him with his bare hands. I was like, okay.
Maybe you should have brought that guy as your creep.
That guy's a creep.
Yes,
but,
he is.
But Ray Caruth is the best. And I have to say that Sharika's mom is actually pretty amazing. She has forgiven the person who shot her daughter. She's forgiven Ray Caruth for setting this up. And she even says this.
I'm more loving and compassionate than I ever thought I could be. And for that, I really have Ray Caruth to thank.
So because she's had to step up and care for her grandson with cerebral palsy, she's actually thankful to Ray Carruth for giving her that opportunity and showing her how good of a person she can be. This woman's amazing.
My eyes are rolling into the back of my head.
This woman's amazing.
Virtue signaling.
This woman's amazing.
Virtue signaling.
Except for, I just thought this was an interesting part of the story. Except for one thing, the name Sharika. How did she come up with the name Sharika? That's kind of a odd name, right? It's not very common. Did you go to school with any Sharikas?
Probably a couple.
So this is how she came up with the name for her daughter.
She was almost about to be named after the vacuum cleaner Eureka. Because I thought, oh, that's got a nice little sound to it. And I thought, no, I don't want her to be associated with dirt.
She wanted to name her Eureka, but thought she'd get made fun of because there's a vacuum cleaner. By the way, Eureka, that word was around long before there was a vacuum cleaner. You could have named her Eureka. But she also loves Cher. So she decided to combine the two. She's Cher-Rika.
Wow. That's I can't tell if that's brilliant or completely mad.
It's really dumb. It's really stupid. If I found out that I was named after a vacuum cleaner and Cher, I would be upset.
You probably are named after some stupid German vacuum cleaner.
Probably.
It's a call.
Fair enough.
Space Thanksgiving. All right, is it my turn?
It's your turn, Ray Caruso. Sorry I went so long, but that was a fascinating story.
That is a good story, and I'm going to try to bust through these. I got a lot of clips this week.
Okay.
Where to start? My creep's name is Paul Michael Marriage.
Okay.
And Paul Michael is one of those members of a family that just makes everyone else uncomfortable. Like, kind of like me when I come over for Thanksgiving. Like, nobody talks to me in my family. I just sit there quietly.
I could see that.
Yeah, they have nothing to say to me. Like, and that's fine.
Your in-laws can't believe you're still showing up. Like, you haven't divorced this guy yet? What is going on?
And you brought him here from New York?
Yes, they're losing bets every year that goes by.
Yeah, not wrong. But I'm just saying that I kind of get that feeling of resentment towards your family at occasion. And this guy had a lot of issues with his parents. He had a lot of issues with his family. So in his mid-30s, Carl, these resentments started spilling over, and he started having problems with his twin sisters, like to the point where, well, let me just tell you a little bit.
So his sisters were his twin, or he has twin sisters?
He had a set of twin sisters. He was just born by himself. Okay. He's not a twin.
Yep, gotcha.
So he would get upset that the parents were favoring the sisters, and it was like a theme throughout his life. This kid had some emotional problems.
Okay.
But here's just a little recap about the type of crazy guy he was.
Paul Marriage had a long history of mental instability and made numerous threats to kill himself and his twin sisters. One of his sisters would eventually get a restraining order against him that would be dropped weeks later.
So, do you realize how scary you have to be as a sibling for your sister to go get?
Well, how old was he at this time?
In his 30s.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So, Thanksgiving's coming up, and the family, they want to be together at the holidays, right, Carl?
I doubt it. I doubt you want to be with the guy that got a
she
restraining
dropped
order
the
against.
restraining order.
Okay.
So here's an email that the mother sent to a friend of hers about her Thanksgiving plans. And I want you to understand the tone before dinner and after dinner from the mother, okay? So here you go.
Marriage's mother, Carol, emailed a friend 2 days before about her excitement over the get-together. We are leaving tomorrow until Sunday. Everyone is going, including Paul. It will be interesting to say the least. Dinner should be yummy.
From your lips to God's ears, honey.
Who communicates like that? Dinner should be yummy?
A mom. Just some mother. But
I
yeah.
hope she's murdered by the end of this story.
Dinner was interesting, Carl.
Okay.
But here's just, we'll go through it a little bit.
Okay.
On Thanksgiving Day 2009, Paul Michael Marriage was enjoying the holiday with his family at his cousin's house in Jupiter, Florida. After eating dinner, they gathered around the piano to sing Christmas and church songs.
Now, that sounds like hell to me.
Dude, I hate this family. This family doesn't actually exist in real life. This is all made up.
Well, you weren't the only one who hated this family.
Okay.
Because, everything started off pretty okay. So far, so good.
Sure.
They all had dinner. Now they're all singing their bullshit songs. And then I'm going to play a clip I affectionately refer to as Heel Turn.
Okay.
The joyous family event soon turned into a nightmare after 35-year-old Paul Marriage left the house and returned with a gun. Paul shot and killed his 33-year-old twin sisters, Carla Marriage and Lisa Knight. Lisa was pregnant at the time. Marriage also shot his brother-in-law, Patrick Knight, who had to be placed in a medically induced coma for 3 months. He then shot and killed his 76-year-old aunt, Raymonda Joseph. after shooting Raymonda once in the shoulder. Her husband, Paul's uncle, tried to stop the bleeding as he cowered on the floor next to her. Paul Marriage shot his aunt once more in the chest before turning the gun on his uncle. However, the gun did not fire after Paul attempted to shoot him twice. During the massacre, Marriage could be heard saying, "I have been waiting 20 years to do this."
Yeah.
I thought he was going to say, "Do you feel lucky, punk?"
Nope.
Well, do ya?
Nope. A little bit of a dramatic read, but it does tell the story pretty well.
I think it's funny about that, though. This is what doesn't make sense. I'm sure you'll clear all this up. So the guy says, "I've been waiting 20 years to murder everyone in my family." Yep. He shows up to the get-together, has to leave to go get a gun, and then come back again. Just
it was probably in the car.
Show up with the gun in the first place.
Well, I like that this lunatic sat there and ate dinner with everyone, knowing that...
Was it yummy?
Yeah, it was a yummy dinner.
Okay,
they sat down for a yummy Thanksgiving dinner, and all this guy was thinking about is, I know what's coming for dessert. You motherfuckers are eating lead.
Yeah.
Well, that's not all, Carl.
Okay.
That's not all. Let's.
So the uncle is not killed at this point.
The uncle is bleeding, but he's not dead. And he's covered. He's holding. And the uncle's like elderly because this was the wife of a 79-year-old woman.
Right, yeah.
So Paul keeps on moving through the house.
He then entered the room of his cousin's 6-year-old daughter, Michaela Sitton. As Michaela slept in her bed, Paul Marriage shot her and then left the room.
She's sleeping through this? Wait, hold on a second.
Kids suck, Carl. Kids suck.
She's fucking sleeping through this? You are the least helpful kid ever. Could you get on 911 or something? Holy shit. Okay, I'm sorry.
All right, no problem. This might start at the beginning, this fucking thing.
He then entered the room of his cousin's 6-year-old daughter, Michaela Sitton. As Michaela slept in her bed, Paul Marriage shot her and then left the room before quickly returning to shoot her again. He shot her a total of 3 times, once in the back, hip, and head. He then drove away in his blue 2007 Toyota Camry.
Toyota, let's go places.
Well, that was a weird...
Carl.
Yes.
He shot and murdered a 6-year-old.
Can I point out that was actually mercy? I would say that there was a mercy there. That girl was going to wake up to see their entire family had been slaughtered.
Not everybody was dead. He left his parents, Carl. His parents watched this.
Oh, his parents.
Now, here's a fun fact I want you to know about this.
Okay.
The Sittons, the people who own the house, the cousins, did not invite him.
Okay.
His parents invited him.
Oh, bad move.
Yeah. So
you think there's some guilt there? Is that what you're thinking?
I think there's a little bit of guilt there, but I do want to remind everyone, this is very important, that whenever someone escapes in a Toyota Camry on Thanksgiving...
Toyotathon is on.
I just want you to know, that's the first Toyotathon, everybody.
I'm starting to think the trunk that he was in, I think that was a Toyota that Ray Carruth was found in.
It must have been.
All right, so this has got to be a theme.
Toyota, let's go places.
Away from crime scenes.
Yeah, let's go places. To Tennessee.
So this guy, he murdered the kid, and he runs away, and he's on the lam. They don't catch him until January. Okay. Now, the father of this daughter is still alive. His daughter was murdered. His wife is gone. I mean, his life is like destroyed. And he begs the court to kill this guy. And Paul Marriage, after all this time, some things started coming out about him and like how kind of crazy he was. Listen to what this weirdo was up to before the shootings happened.
Medical records show Paul Marriage, the man in prison for killing 4 family members in Jupiter, was controlled by obsessive compulsive behavior. Documents obtained by our news partners at the Palm Beach Post show Marriage's behavior included sometimes wearing 2 pairs of underpants and taking showers for 5 hours. Records also reveal he tried to commit suicide at least twice and told psychiatrists that he couldn't get death out of his mind.
So he wore 2 pairs of underwear and would take like 5-hour-long showers. Anything you didn't do when you were 13, Carl?
I know, this is not that big of a deal.
But I'm saying he's 35 years old and he's wearing 2 pairs of underwear like he's trying to hide a boner like a kid.
But this is what I don't understand. That's why you wear 2 pairs of underwear? You're trying to hide a boner?
Isn't it?
I don't know. I've never heard of that. So what I think is interesting is that...
Well, obviously you didn't have the problem with people seeing it.
He tried to commit suicide. Are you trying to say I have a small dick now when I was 13? You trying to say that 13-year-old girl had a small dick? Is that what your point is?
Let's see that dick.
No, Vinny.
How dare you?
I told you I'm not going to do that.
How dare you, Carl? How dare you?
So, what was I saying? Okay. Well, he attempted suicide twice. He sucks at suicide. Homicide he's amazing at. First time he tries it, he's able to do it multiple times. but he can't kill himself. How is that possible?
Well, on the lam, he went and he purchased a book on how to kill yourself.
There's a book like that?
Yeah, it's called...
The author doesn't know. I mean, you should know it's a shitty book.
Carl, straight through the bullshit.
It's so
straight
stupid.
through the bullshit. But yeah, he bought a book. He bought like he bought all sorts of stuff. He bought masking tape, helium tanks. He was like gonna fucking put plastic bags over his head and like use helium to kill himself. He didn't do it. He did get...
That's the fucking stupidest way I've ever heard of to kill yourself. Just let the car run. Let the Toyota run in the garage.
He thought he was just going to float away.
Just let the Toyota run. What the fuck is wrong with people?
So would you like to hear how they captured him 5 weeks later?
I want to know how big of a book this is. How to Kill Yourself. How many pages is this?
This might end up on the wheel. We might have to do a book report.
This book.
Okay, so...
Chapter a show.
This is, I titled this clip, Carl, Pitiful Capture.
Ironically, when marshals burst into Marriage's room, the man who is charged with coldly shooting into a crowd of his relatives, including that 6-year-old sleeping in her Tinkerbell pajamas, they say that he threw his hands in the air and begged, "Don't shoot me." They didn't, but they did taser him 3 times before he flew off.
That's awesome. God, if I had a taser, I would use it multiple times a day. It's going to be so much fun.
Now, the parents invited this kid to Thanksgiving. And I told you there would be a second email from the mother. This is another email to a friend from the mother expressing her remorse and how horrible she feels over the whole situation.
4 days later, his anguished mother responded to a friend's email with this: "We are devastated. The pain is too much to bear. Why? Where is God?"
Great question. But
God,
not the time for the question. Why did you invite your child who wasn't invited over to someone's house who you knew was crazy? So...
Unconditional love, Vinny. That's what families do.
This guy pled guilty. He avoided the death penalty. He got 7 consecutive life sentences. So he's fucked. But there was a lawsuit after it. The father of the daughter sued this guy's parents.
The Sittons also filed a lawsuit against Marriage's parents, alleging they had invited him to the gathering without warning them that their son might be dangerous. The lawsuit was eventually dismissed in 2012 after it was determined that the Marriages had no legal right or ability to control the actions of their son.
He was 35.
Yeah, no shit. That's a crazy lawsuit.
You think that's a crazy lawsuit?
Yeah.
Well, allow me to one-up it, my friend.
Okay, let's hear it.
The Marriages filed a countersuit against the Sittons in 2011, alleging the Sittons were to blame for the bloodbath.
What?
Yeah.
Just let it go, guys.
Hold on. Here's a little more detailed explanation. So now the parents are suing the people whose house it was.
Kelly, it's a surprising turn of events, an unusual development that puts the victims' parents, Jim and Muriel Sitton, on the defense as the killer's parents fire back with their own lawsuit. In this counterclaim filed just before Thanksgiving this year, Michael and Carol Marriage now say Jim and Muriel Sitton knew their son had mental problems, and because of that, the Sittons should never have allowed Paul Marriage to enter their Jupiter home Thanksgiving night.
Yeah.
This is like Stuttering John level lawsuit. Like, just sue everyone.
They were using my copyrighted material to be shot with.
What the? All right.
These people
are nuts.
All suck. Every one of them sucks.
Well, they live in Jupiter, Florida.
So I would like to point out a couple of things before I rest my case.
I bet Casey lives near there, too.
Yeah, it's probably your cousin. So, number 1, okay? Carl, your story had 1 pregnant woman shot. Mine had 1 pregnant woman shot and killed.
This is where you go into your
Her
thing.
twin sister murdered.
This is where you go into your
A
thing.
79-year-old octogenarian.
Just make your case. You don't have to make a case against my case. Just
Yes, I
make
do.
your
That's why
case.
it's the
I'll
game.
tell you why.
I'm on game point, son.
I'll tell you why Ray Cruz is a bigger creep. Because he went through and actually worked with a bunch of different people to go through with this murder over $5,000 a month. He's making millions of dollars.
Yeah.
He was a star. He would have been a star in the NFL.
Well, he was not a star when it came to murder.
First-round
My
pick.
guy was a first-round murder pick. If you were starting a murder team, Carl, and you had the first pick, are you picking Marriage or are you picking Caruth?
Yeah, good point. All right, you got me there.
Yeah, I do. And don't forget, everybody. Be
Vote
that
for
guy.
Vinny!
Thank you, Carl. I
You
appreciate
fucking
it.
Clipped that, you motherfucker.
Thank you, everybody.
Here's the thing about Wang.
What is
your favorite hole?
All right. Let's just say that opens up the door for this week's vote, ladies and gentlemen. If you would like to vote, visit thecreepoff.com and just look for the little poll on the right sidebar. You could vote for Carl and Ray Carruth, or you could vote for Vinny and Mr. Marriage over here. And next week, I could very well win, and Carl will be spinning the wheel. So make sure you think about this carefully before you vote this week, everybody. What would you rather see? Carl actually be punished instead of just writing pretty songs that he likes to sing anyway?
I'm not even writing these songs. They were already written.
Okay. Well, you're just having a good old time with your consequence. You always have a good time with your consequences.
I do. Since you brought that up, why don't I give you an update on the Nick Bate cover album?
Lay it on me.
I have another song to premiere for us today, and it's this one. This classic toe tapper that we all love.
I frickin' hate vaginas. Vaginas really suck.
Just try to get the beat.
Anuses are the only thing that I like to fuck.
I'm very proud of what I was able to put together for this one, Vinny.
God, yes.
This is my best work yet. You ready?
Yep.
I freaking hate vaginas. Vaginas really suck. Anuses are the only things that I like to fuck.
You sure you didn't write that?
Dude, I had to detune my guitar and learn the wrong notes to play. I tried to mimic that perfectly.
I'm proud of you, Carl.
Thank you, buddy.
Good job.
I thought you'd like that.
That was pretty good.
We get any voicemails this week?
Oh, did we? Hold on. Let's pull them up. Let's start at the beginning. Our good friend Imbecile decided to chime in.
Imbecile here. I wanted to congratulate Vinny on his pre-show announcement last show that he does not give a shit about audio. How refreshing.
How refreshing.
It is like hearing a pilot state that he does not give a shit about flight safety, or a chef that does not give a shit about salmonella. Congrats. But I vote for the Rochester Rattlesnake, Stone Cold Carl Hamburger, whatever the fuck his surname is. Oregon!
The Rochester Rattlesnake, Stone Cold Carl Hamburger. All right.
I love it.
Thank
you very much, Imbecile.
I don't know if that's going to work on a t-shirt.
You'll be able to fit it on one of your shirts. You can fit a lot of words on the shirts you wear.
Yeah, it's true. Here's some people praising you.
Hey, Creep Off. This is a message for Carl. Carl, I know you get a lot of shit on the Creep Off. Almost all of it deserved. But I'm proud of you this time. I'm actually proud of you. Because you didn't go for the easy joke last week on the trucker episode. You didn't say it was Andy. I'm proud of you, Carl. Keep making.
Oh, he said, "Good job." Sorry about that.
Yep. No, I appreciate you actually playing that one. I'm surprised.
And another one.
I will say that Vinny did send me a text that said, "This week's category is truckers not named Andy."
I did do that.
That was the rule.
So you're welcome, sir.
The fuck was that episode, guys? This is we went back in time to Creepiest Garbage Man, but the roles were reversed. One of you went for a big creep. The other one went for someone who actually applies to the topic. Vinny, that's just a creepy guy who just so happened to have a job as a truck driver. Carl,
Carl's guy wasn't even a garbage man.
Crimes took place inside the fucking truck.
Yes, thank you. I did deserve it.
If Vinny wins this one, then it's definitely. I mean, we all know everyone loves Vinny Winnie, people's champ, but
we do.
The bias would definitely be strong here. Carl, I think you got to go after that media. It's really putting things in his favor. Vinny Spinny.
Okay.
Vinny Spinny.
Okay.
Actually, I went all the way to the third page of Google for that creep, so I definitely deserved the victory.
You agree with that logic, do you?
I don't want to get into it.
Because I was going to say, if that's the logic, then
I
massacre.
change the rules all the
if
time.
you Google Jupiter Thanksgiving Massacre,
Yeah.
you're going to find my guy.
Yeah.
Like, my massacre happened on Thanksgiving. No one remembers that shit happened that Ray Carruth was arrested on Thanksgiving in the trunk
That's
of
why
a
I
car
told-
with 2 piss jugs.
That's why I told you that, so that you would remember it.
All right.
I don't expect you to know the whole story. That's why I brought it.
All right. Well, let's close on a high note, shall we?
And, Vinny, don't ever accuse me of following the rules. I
No
will
problem.
never, ever do that.
Okay. Understood.
You know what really creeps me out? When people on, like, you know, football shows or, I don't know, podcasts start talking about shaving my nuts. I really don't need you to be talking about that. It's really pervy and really disgusting. Fuck you, Carl. Vinnie Winnie, People's Champ.
Now, I would like to ask you a question. In all sincerity and all honesty, I'm asking for the creep-off audience here. When you're on WATP and a nut shaving company says, we're going to pay you some money, how much does it cost to get you to talk about shaving your nuts during your own podcast, Carl?
Well,
what do you get out of that?
I also get free product samples from it, too, Vinny. It's not just a currency exchange. How fun was it yesterday when I got to ask Brian Johnson from Tell Him Steve Dave if he shaves anywhere, because the guy has a beard. It's ridiculous. The guy's not shaved in a long time. And to find out that he does shave his back, and I assume his asshole and nuts as well. Promo code WATP, 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com.
Disgusting, vomit-inducing thing.
Yeah, thanks, Carl. Thank you very much.
No nicks when you use the Lawnmower 3.0.
Now, let's change course here for a second and
Can I ask you a question, though, since you brought that up?
Yeah.
What advertiser, because you have advertisers. I mean, I'm looking at the Three Heads Brewing behind me here, and your show has sponsors. Who would you turn down? What would be a sponsor that you wouldn't read the ad copy for?
Who is that pizza place that the QAnon people raided?
Okay, that's a good answer.
Okay.
That's a good answer.
I would read an ad for any pizza place any day of the week, but not that one.
Okay.
Okay, so let's talk about email, shall we? We got one to our email, thecreepoffpod@gmail.com, from our buddy Cam. Remember Cam, Carl?
Yeah.
It's been a while since we've heard from you, buddy. He had 2 suggestions for the Wheel of Consequences.
Okay, great.
First one, you're going to hate this. Loser has to make a 5-episode long, 20-plus minute per episode podcast on a topic that the winner decides.
Oh, okay. It's a little bit too long, but I like the premise. I like the premise that we have to produce a podcast on a topic that we definitely do not want to be talking about.
Right.
But how many? 5 times 20? That's too much, because no one's going to listen to it.
I don't know. It depends on how much work you put into it. It's got to be a consequence.
Can it be like a half an hour long podcast or something?
Well, it's a 20-minute episode.
Well, he wants 5 20-minute episodes.
I think it should be a 5-parter. Let's say we'll split the difference. We'll go 10 minutes each.
Okay. All right.
But they have to be done well and done seriously.
Dude, when have I ever made a podcast and done it well? I'll do my best.
Same here.
Right?
We'll agree to do our best. So off the top of your head, if you had to decide, say I lost and I had to spin, what topic would you give me?
Oh, what's something that you would? Punk rock. History of punk rock.
I love punk rock.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
You always make fun of it.
I do, but it's because it's worthy of being made fun of. Everybody
All right,
who's into it takes it way too seriously.
I got to rethink this then.
For you, I would go learning how to be nice to people. Like kindness.
Kindness, yeah.
It would be fun. I want you to do a 5-part, 10-minute thing about kindness.
I was reading this book. All that I needed to know in life I learned in kindergarten, and it taught me many amazing things that I didn't know before. And
I can imagine you in kindergarten. Teachers just talking about colors. Like, what are you even saying?
When are we going to learn the alphabet? What are we even doing?
What are we even doing? I know what fucking red is. The duck's yellow. Quack, quack. Get on with it.
I wasn't always this big of an asshole,
You're
Vinny.
just the worst kid.
I evolved into it.
All right, second one. I don't know if I like this idea as much, but we'll get it out there because it was from Cam. Loser has to hold a live Q&A with 50 questions that the fans sent in. The winner gets to vet the questions and decide what the loser has to answer.
A live Q&A.
Yeah.
I mean, you kind of did that when you
It's
did
a little
your...
too convoluted, I think. I'm going to pass on that one. But we did have another one, and I lost the email.
Okay.
Whoever sent it was brilliant. Loser has to put truck nuts on their car
Oh,
until the
right.
next person spins again.
That's fucking funny. Yeah, I like that one too.
All
That's
right,
funny.
so truck nuts going
Truck
on the
nuts
wheel.
goes on,
And podcast, I guess podcast series will go on the wheel too.
Okay.
If we could agree. All right, very cool. So are you ready for a scum parade, Carl?
I am ready for the scum parade. Let me just hit the jingle.
Do it. kind of miss Rock Brigade sometimes.
All right.
I just like to have the energy of Rock Brigade, but all right.
You know what I got to do with Rock Brigade? I've been thinking about it. It's too long. When I look over my board, it says 39 seconds. I'm like, oh, that's too long. I just got to get right to the chorus, I think.
Yeah.
I got to skip the verse on that one.
People are listening going, what are they even talking about?
Well, the reason why I kept the verse in on this song, I'll just play a little bit of it for you.
Well, in the middle of the night and the early morning light, you can see these are creeps from miles away. They'll be banging their kids and banging siblings, driving up a cliff with children on board.
Driving off a cliff with children on board was the lyric that I really wanted to get in there
Yeah,
because
that's pretty
that
good.
story was fucking amazing. The guy's got his kids in the car. He's like, I'm driving off this cliff.
People are getting stabbed. That was a crazy. Oh, wait. There's a lot of stories with people throwing kids off of cliffs.
Yes.
I know which one you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. No, this was the one where the guy was driving. I forget they were
San Diego.
Yeah, in San Diego, and he literally drove his car off a cliff with the children in it. So just let the kids out. You're gonna go kill yourself, fucking idiot.
All right. Well, speaking of idiots, shall we start down in Florida? Or actually, I'm sorry, Georgia.
Okay. Yes.
And a hair braided ultimately.
I love this woman, Kimberly. Oh,
Dude, I
this is
added
great.
this just for you. We're doing an extra story this week because this is brilliant. In a hair-braided, ultimately unsuccessful attempt to score some free food, a Georgia woman posed as an FBI agent while demanding gratis grub from a Chick-fil-A.
She was pretending to be an FBI agent in order to get free food.
Where's that Ronnie drop? Everybody's on the floor.
Everybody get down, get down.
Last Thursday morning, police received a suspicious person call from employees at an eatery. A 911 caller reported that a suspect who was in a white van was identifying themselves as a federal agent and trying to get free food. When cops arrived at the Chick-fil-A around noon, they approached the white Dodge Grand Caravan, whose driver was later identified as Kimberly Ragsdale. And let me tell you something. She looks like a Ragsdale.
Yeah, she does not look like an FBI agent.
No, she doesn't. Sure. She doesn't even look like she could work at the Chick-fil-A, let alone the fucking FBI.
Yeah, I'd be suspicious if she was employed.
Right.
Let alone employed by the FBI.
Asked by an officer if she had been identified herself as a federal agent, Ragsdale stated that she was a federal agent.
Yeah, he asked for credentials, and she pulled that move. She's like, oh, yeah, I got my credentials right here. And she shoved a sandwich right in his face.
No.
Oh,
What she did was she said, I don't have one right now. It's electronic.
Oh, that's logical.
And the cop went, oh, you got one of the electronic ones. We're having trouble with that, too. You don't have just a badge, you fucking idiot. Ragsdale refused to exit her van until an officer displayed his taser and warned it would be deployed unless she got out of the Dodge. After being handcuffed,
this is great.
Ragsdale continued her charade. The cop said Mrs. Ragsdale then began to talk into her shirt like she was talking into a radio, telling someone that we were arresting her and to send someone to Rockmart PD, said Officer William Gilstrap.
She was trying till the very end.
They just got her in cuffs. I would need someone to meet me down at the station.
I want to know, what's the scenario where an FBI agent would need free food from a Chick-fil-A restaurant? It seems kind of harebrained to begin with. Wouldn't you be like a health inspector?
Listen.
Wouldn't that be a smarter thing to pretend you're because why an FBI agent needs free food? I don't understand.
You know what you should do? You should walk in and pretend to be like a reporter snooping around.
Yes.
Put on one of those old school hats with a little piece of paper in the brim.
Yeah.
I heard some stories about this place. I don't know if the food is quite up to snuff. Now, she's really gross. She's really, really gross. And she says for several days, the people who work there told the cops that she'd been doing this for several days.
Yes.
Like several days she's been walking in and they're like, no,
and
you can't have food.
This Chick-fil-A restaurant's 20 miles from her house. Like, she's going out of her way to go to this one Chick-fil-A restaurant.
Well, you can't go undercover around your house, Carl.
Is that what the problem is?
Yeah, it must be.
All right.
It must be. So let's move on to Connecticut, shall we?
Okay.
A half-dressed Connecticut man was spotted humping trees in a stranger's backyard. He's behind bars on multiple charges. Record shows that officers were dispatched Thursday afternoon to the residence when was reported an unknown male in a backyard half-dressed humping trees, screaming and eating branches.
Do you think this guy just follows woodpeckers around and is just like, yeah, get that hole, make that hole real tight for me, yeah.
Oh, my God. There's a Groot joke in here somewhere, but I'm too tired to fish it out. When cops arrived, the suspect ran into a neighboring house. So the cops show up. This guy, he's out there fucking trees.
Right.
And he's like, I got to escape. And he runs into a random stranger's house. Like, that was the best option.
This guy might not be all with it.
Might not be is
Might not
correct. He's a never mind. Okay, sorry, lost my spot. The intruder, identified as John Figner, 36, subsequently exited the residence and was placed under arrest. While in custody, Figner allegedly spat at the assaulted police, resulting in a felony charge being filed against him as well. He is scheduled for a court appearance this week, and he's locked up in lieu on $25,000 bond. Figner has 2 other pending criminal cases, and he was arrested in August for breach of the peace and was busted in September for a little bit of weed.
Didn't it say in the article, too, it wasn't clear which half of him was undressed?
That is true, but if he was humping the trees...
If you're humping the tree, you don't take your shirt off to fuck a tree. You take your pants off to fuck a tree. Who doesn't know that?
I think that if you would use the Manscaped, it would probably suck trying to hump a tree pretty bad.
Right. We actually discourage people from fucking trees. It's right on the Manscaped packaging.
Well,
not for fucking trees.
This guy got busted for marijuana.
Yes.
Loves nature. Breach of the peace and resisting arrest. So that guy is a lunatic.
He doesn't think that the tree huggers go far enough.
He does not. He's like, I'll give you a Green New Deal. Just fucking a tree.
I'm just trying to plant a seed, officer.
Hey, Carl,
Yes.
It wouldn't be Thanksgiving if we didn't check into one of our favorite places in the world. Gary, Indiana.
Oh, Gary, yeah.
Everybody knows that Gary, Indiana is just a great place. Home of the Jackson 5. Also, a home of a little situation that happened last September. But we have an update. Deion Simmons, a 35-year-old Chicago man, was taken into custody Tuesday in connection to a murder of a 14-year-old girl named Takayla Tribbett. Utility workers found Tribbett's body tied to a pole in an alley. Did you hear that, Carl? There was a 14-year-old tied to a fucking pole in an alley in Gary, Indiana.
And that wasn't even the craziest thing that happened that day.
Yeah.
Gary, Indiana's a shitty place.
Shot in the fucking stomach. They just left her there tied to a fucking pole. Can you believe that fucking shit?
Yeah.
I mean, if you heard that happen in your city, just in general, there was a 14-year-old murdered tied to a pole. That's got to be Gary.
It's only Gary.
It's got to be Gary.
It's either Gary or somewhere in Germany.
That should be their new their new tourism theme.
It's got to be Gary.
It's got to be Gary. Did you find a murdered teenager flayed in the middle of the square? Got to be Gary. Gary, Lake County, and FBI law enforcement personnel worked on the case, and on Tuesday they were finally able to arrest Deion Simmons on DNA evidence. The Chicago Sun reports that there is an extradition hearing and that he will be heading to Chicago, from Chicago back to Gary to face charges on this murder.
You know what else was crazy about this? Is they said that when they found the girl, she had been dead for 2 days.
Yeah. Oh, God, yeah.
So,
how did I fucking miss that part?
So I'm wondering what he was doing with the body before he tied it up. Was he even like a weekend at Bernie's, like just a fun romp with her for a couple days?
They went to the birthplace of the Jacksons,
yeah,
took some
let's go around
pictures.
town for a little bit. He's got his foot tied to her foot, so they're like walking together.
Schlemiel, Schlemazel. Incorporate.
Everyone will get your Laverne and Shirley reference, I'm sure.
I'm a cool guy.
That's right.
Now, Carl, let's head to Indiana, shall we? A high school teacher in Indiana has been fired from his job, arrested and charged after a student at the school gave birth to his child.
Whoops.
Yeah. Police say disruptions began at the high school when a student who no longer attends the school gave birth on September 21st. Police did not elaborate of the nature of the disruptions at the school, but a bunch of the students, apparently, I read into this, had some protests because they kind of knew what was happening and nothing was going on. Seymour Police and Seymour County resource officers began an investigation. Todd A. Weaver, shocker, the wrestling coach, was placed on administrative leave by the school pending the outcome of the investigation.
Yeah,
well,
the parents were suspicious when the baby was able to perform a perfect DDT.
What was that? What was the old move that, oh God, what's his name? The old Speaker of the House. Who's the creepo that I brought in?
Oh gosh, yeah.
Denny Hassert.
Yeah,
Good old
yeah.
Denny Hassert did the old maneuver, the Hassert maneuver. Now, they served a search warrant. They examined his cell phone, and they took DNA. And when they did the DNA test, shocker.
You are the father.
Yep, he's dead to rights.
She was under 18.
Yeah.
This is a 50-year-old man.
Yes.
Fucking impressive, my friend.
He's
Well
a good
done.
guy. Well, he has a good defense. I have a clip of his attorney.
Okay.
Science is a liar sometimes.
That was after the paternity test?
Yes, that was his argument about the paternity test. So he's arrested, and He's being held in Jackson County Jail. Now, let me ask you a question. Who do you think is going to be a better father to the child, Mr. Weaver or Ray Caruth was to his son?
Well, give Ray a chance.
That's true. He is out of jail trying to make a life for
So
himself.
he doesn't have to pay for the kid. He'll be fine with it.
So-
This kid wants to eat every day? Oh, fuck it then.
Now, shall we go over to Germany, Carl?
Yeah, let's go to Germany.
This story is a little wild, and I could not find all the details that I wanted, but
Yeah.
a 41-year-old high school teacher whose name has not been released was arrested on Thursday after the discovery earlier this month of a set of bones in a field in North Berlin. The remains turned out to be those of a 44-year-old electrical engineer who had disappeared in early September. A police officer reported that one bone was, quote, completely meatless, and just one of the pieces of evidence that led the authorities to suspect the victim had been cannibalized. Would you like to know the other piece of evidence, Carl?
Yes, what's the other piece of evidence?
Teeth marks on the bones.
That's insane. You must really want to get to all the meat.
Yeah. Sniffer dogs led investigators to the suspect's apartment, not far away in the city's Pankow district, where police found cutting tools, bone fragments, traces of blood. The suspect has been charged on suspicion of murder with sexual motives, according to the AP. The BBC reports that he visited internet chat rooms dedicated to cannibalism, and the suspect had an interest in cannibalism, Berlin prosecutor's office said. He searched online for the topic, and Der Spiegel reported the two men in this case met on a website called Planet Romeo, a dating website for gay, bisexual, and transgender people.
You know what I hate about this story? The reason why this guy was caught is because of his internet history and his search history.
No, the reason this guy was caught is because the dog fucking marched the cops to his apartment.
You're kind of shit on my... All right. Sounds good.
All right, do your joke. I'm sorry. Do your joke.
That's what we call a setup.
All right, go ahead.
That's fine. Go
Hey,
ahead.
Carl, how'd they catch the guy?
I don't know. Who knows? Internet history is great. It's fine.
They caught, well, his internet history, Carl.
I'm not doing it now.
Carl.
How can I possibly succeed
I can make
now?
this seamless in post.
How can I possibly succeed with that? What did I just not go
I
over?
don't care.
Oh, no. Jay and Silent Bob.
Oh, you bastard. So, his internet history. Carl?
Yeah.
Do your joke.
Just keep going.
Carl, I want to hear your joke,
Let's
Carl.
just keep going.
Carl, we need to hear your joke. The people want to hear your joke.
Let's just keep going.
No, let's hear your joke, Carl.
I don't like that we look at people's internet history and then determine that they're guilty of something. If you looked at our internet history, yours and mine, you would think that we were both serial killers.
Or pedophiles, yeah.
And pedophiles.
Yeah, we'd be in trouble.
Yes, and cannibals and everything else.
They might think I'm Batman because all I do is look up criminals.
Well, you could be a vigilante. That's
yeah,
true.
they might think that. You, on the other hand,
Me, on
they're
the
going to
other
look at your...
hand, They think I'm a
They're just going to
feminazi.
go off of your Google search.
Yes.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we want you to stay tuned for the very end of the episode today because we have a very special little segment from our buddy Kevin, who is going to be reading our reviews from iTunes.
That's right. We got a new review girl.
Yeah.
We have a review girl, and it's Kevin.
Good old tits. He's going to be reading them for us. You're going to love it. No, he did a kind of a, how do I say this? In his words, a vanilla reading.
Okay.
So please enjoy. And if you have any ideas for the review section or like to leave a review yourself to be read by Kevin, please do. 5-star only. Feel free to shit on us in the comments. Isn't that your thing there, Carl?
Well, yes, I was just going to say that's my thing. But go ahead. You can do
No,
that,
I gave you credit.
Also, I want to mention, if you want to talk to other people about this show, we do have a channel in the Discord. If you go to the Who Are These Podcasts Discord, there is a Creep Off channel in there. And you can see other creeps that want to talk about these creeps that we bring up on this show.
There's also a Reddit page if you'd like to join us on the Reddit page.
That's right. There's a Reddit page as well. I haven't seen it, but I assume it's there.
And as always, you can visit thecreepoff.com to vote and follow us on Twitter at creepoffpod. If you want to leave a voicemail, 585-371-8108. And as always, the email is open, thecreepoffpod@gmail.com. Are you ready to get out of here?
Yes.
Well, a very, very, very happy Turkey Day to everybody.
Happy Turkey Day. Hunger pains will go away when you hear a pilgrim say it's Happy Turkey Day. Happy Turkey Day. Let's all eat the Indian way as we're stealing Cape Cod Day on Happy Turkey Day. The Creep Off. Happy Turkey Day. Hunger pains will go away when you hear a pilgrim say it's Happy Turkey Day. Happy Turkey Day. Let's all eat the Indian way as we're stealing Cape Cod Day on Happy Turkey Day. The Creep Off.
Hey everybody, it's Kevin here with the Creep Off review section. That's right, I'm going to be here every week reading reviews that you submit to iTunes and wherever else I can find them. This week we've got 4 new ones, and I'll start right into them here because why the fuck not, right? The first one's from Geech in Your Face, and it's called Consequences Shamansequences. I thought the Wheel of Consequences was to punish the hosts. These Nick Bate songs are for the birds. Oof. All right, well, thank you, Geech in Your Face. The next one here we've got is from a shit ton of letters, VCR / blah, 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 blah. It says it's definitely a podcast, that's the title. The main guy is basically a sadistic Dilbert. The other dude has a heavy bag on his neck that the Dilbert dude keeps soccer kicking. He paints a very, vivid picture there. I assume sadistic Dilbert is Vinnie, and a heavy bag on the neck is good old Carl. Hot Carl. Carla. Whatever the hell Vinnie calls him, I don't know. I haven't been around enough. Anyway, moving along here, we've got a new one here. It says, this show makes D. Hastert wants to sell, and I can't read the rest of it because I fucking cut it off, and I refuse to install iTunes on my Windows machine. I'm just going to read. It's from Larry iTunes Hotmail email. That's the actual username. Here we go. It says, this show reminds me of eating a Taco Bell as a grad student. It feels good at the time, but the next day your hangover is only trumped by the bad food. Vinnie and Karl are equivalent to the biblical 4 horsemen, and Vinnie makes up for 3 of them. Karl's sense of humor makes the briefcase sound like Dave Chappelle. Sick, disgusting, and Jack Dorsey needs to ban this show. Please. All right. Sounds like he's a big fan. And our last one here is from J Stan B. The title just says great. I like where this is going. It says, this is the best true crime podcast I have ever heard. True crime is such a hard genre that many people are not willing to attempt it. It's one of those subjects that people are really not that interested in, but there are some people that like it. I hope this genre catches on and more people produce true crime podcasts. I didn't see anywhere where it was supposed to be marked sarcastic, but that's gotta be fucking sarcastic, right? Or that was a bot that wrote that, because that seems way too, I don't know, there's something going on there. Anyway, I want to thank everybody for sticking with me here. I'm going to be back eventually to read some more reviews for you for the Creep Off. If they'll have me back, I don't know. We'll see how people, submit reviews and they're like, fuck that Kevin guy. He sucks. What's this weird music in the background? I don't know what's going to happen. All right. We're going to play it by ear here. Okay. So I'll see you when I see you. All right. Thanks.